March 20th is the day that marked the first anniversary of the passing of Father Robert. But the parishioner Louise reminded me that this is the gospel he preached right before he died. He preached the Transfiguration on Saturday evening, and on Sunday morning when everybody's waiting for him, he didn't show up. I'm preaching it tonight, and I will show up tomorrow. I promise you that, okay? Now, today's gospel has something very personal with me. So I'm going to try to talk to you from my heart rather than from my head. It's personal for 3 reasons. Because it has to do with me, of course. But it has to do in a sense that to glorify God. You heard the first reading, the story of Abraham. You hear that all the time. You hear that 3 million times. And probably you have told many people, I don't know how many more million times. But it's personal because Abraham had only one child. And he wanted to offer that. And as you know, I'm also the only child in the family. But today, the theme of this gospel, any of you watched the Oscar, what you call that? The Oscar, the red carpet, what you call it?
The Grammys?
No, Oscar nomination?
Yes. Did any of you watch it? Did you see a 74 years old nun walking up?
Yes.
You see that? Now that is personal with me. See also the only child. The only child of a very famous Hollywood actor and actress. Born non-Catholics. Became a Catholic at the age of 10. Moved to Hollywood at the age of 11. Turned 17 and had the first role in one of the Hollywood hits. By the age she turned 21, she was co-star with Elvis Presley in a movie, The King of Creole, something like that. Well, I don't follow Elvis Presley, so I can't remember that. Her name is Dolores Hart. At that time, won her first Oscar nomination, 1959. At that time, one of her casting, they was willing to offer her up to $1 million. Any of you remember 1960? $1 million for a casting in a movie, 1960, okay? When the minimum wage was probably $1.20. At the age of 25, right after she played that movie, she left Hollywood quietly in a car, a regular car. Unlike many people say she left Hollywood in a big limousine. No, she left Hollywood behind in a normal car, drove all the way to Connecticut, and became a Benedictine sister. Now, if you know back then the Benedictine sister, that means you can't even come out and meet the people. You live in a cloister. You don't meet the outside people. You pray 9 times a day in Latin for the church. Now, here's another thing. People always ask her, you know, back then, right? Because she co-starred with Elvis Presley in 2 movies, not just 1, 2. They always ask her, how was the kiss with Elvis Presley felt? How does it feel kissing Elvis? And she always tell them, it didn't last more than 10 seconds. "48 years later, she showed up again at Hollywood. Portrayed as an Oscar nomination in a movie, God is larger, God is bigger than Elvis. As a Benedictine mom. The story just didn't end there. She was also engaged to a Hollywood businessman. She called off the wedding and went there. They have interviewed him many times, and he said true love doesn't have to end up at the altar. The man never married. He said, because I could never find another Dolores in my life. Twice a year, with a permission from her abbess, this means the one who in charge of the cloister. This ex-fiance of her came to Connecticut twice a year on Easter and Christmas in the last 50 plus years to visit her until he died 2 years ago at the age of 78. He left all his money for the Benedictine congregation. Isn't that an amazing story? It's personal with me too. When I read Abraham and this went with that, all those things, and he just show up again at Hollywood after like 50 years, right? And people ask her, how's it feel? She say, obviously it doesn't look like my congregation. With all these glamorous things that she had already experienced. And my own story, many of you have known, I was also engaged. And that, as a fiance of me, not only support me, but she always there to help me to walk to the altar of the Lord. Today we can look at this story and we can say how amazing it is. But it just doesn't begin with us. It begins with the story of Abraham, of Jesus Christ before Abraham, that God loved us, that He promised He will give us His only Son. It's been generations after generations. It's the story of faith. It's not the story of majority rules. It's not the story of 50% of the vote plus one. It's the story that nothing can explain but love alone can. Abraham, how would explain that? For the Lord's heart, how would that explain that? When she went to the congregation, she told the Mother Superior, saying, well, from now on, I don't have to act on another role anymore. And her Mother Superior said, that's right, you dead wrong, lady. You now will act on the role to the rest of your life. A role of being Jesus Christ. And she said the first morning that she was so upset and angry, she left literally everything she had behind her. From fame, from money, from everything to go in here surrounded by full ward of the house and meet no one. How do we explain that? Unless it is the matter of love to our Creator, the faith we have in Him. And she credited that her faith to Pope John the 23rd, the very elderly Pope, you know that they thought he not going to do anything, right? They elected him to keep him down there for a few years now. He called the Vatican II, remember that? He changed everything, so I can actually talk to you in English now and not Latin. When she was playing in a field of the movie and was filming in Rome, she met Pope John the 23rd. And one of the movies, she said, she was playing the life of San Francis, but the movie of the life of San Francis, but she was doing in the role of Clara. You know, again, the lover of Francis. The love didn't have to end on the altar. And as he met the Pope and he said, well, I'm playing the role of Clara. And the Pope looked at her and said in Latin, which I don't know what that is, but in English means, no, you are not playing that role. You are Clara. My dear friends, today we begin the second week of Lent. Just like everybody journey of faith, you and I, we have to walk that too. We have to walk our own journey of faith. Would us willing to allow God to take the lead? Or will we tell God, let me lead you? Would us allow the will of God to be done? Or would us tell God that let my will be done? I think the choice is pretty obvious. In order to be transfigured with God, as we heard in today's gospel, we have to walk that road with Him. In faith, many times, reason is good, but sometimes reason will get lost. Sometimes we have to walk with the matter of faith. People normally ask me, so Father, how do you do that? How do you left your love and become? I said, I really don't know it. You ask me for a reason, I have no reason. If you ask me why I did it, I don't know why. I know how I did it. He helped me, and He helped me. That's how I did it. Why I did it? I think you know how often I use the word Jesus the cuckoo man. He's out of control. I'm cuckoo too. But that's all right. And you cuckoo to what you're doing here today. You see Him, you touch Him, you feel Him. And the people would think you cuckoo too. But you here because of that great love, of that faith that no one can explain but you yourself. And you will be one day transfigured with Him, and we will look at Him in the face and we say, Lord, it's absolutely good to be here.